Hello, I'm Africa 54 Managing Editor Vincent McCarthy. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. For the first time in U.S. history, the House of Representatives voted to oust its Speaker from the position. The removal of Kevin McCarthy from his job was spearheaded by far-right Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. Haitians on the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince, seem to be indifferent about Kenya sending forces to their country to quell gang violence. And artificial intelligence empowers its creator to personalize learning experiences, making education more accessible. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. We begin our broadcast in the United States, where for the first time in history, a Speaker of the House, U.S. House of Representatives, who is second in the presidential line of succession, has been removed from office. Facing a challenge from his own party, Republican Kevin McCarthy failed to retain his post by a vote of 216 to 210. VOA's congressional correspondent Catherine Gibson has more.
An extraordinary moment in American politics. For the first time ever, the leader of the U.S. House of Representatives has been removed from power.
Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Republican Representative Matt Gaetz forced a vote on removing McCarthy, expressing frustration at McCarthy's leadership after he failed to pass a government funding bill last week with conservative spending priorities.
I think $33 trillion in debt is chaos. I think that facing a $2.2 trillion annual deficit is chaos. I think that not passing single subject spending bills is chaos.
McCarthy told reporters he would not run again for the role of Speaker.
I can continue to fight, maybe in a different manner. I will not run for Speaker again.
But the slim Republican majority in the House meant that Gaetz needed only 8 Republican votes, along with all Democrats, to oust McCarthy, who faced increasing criticism since agreeing to a debt ceiling deal earlier this year with President Joe Biden.
Many of us had begged the Speaker, pleaded with the Speaker repeatedly to utilize the debt ceiling to leverage spending cuts and reforms. But instead, he negotiated an unlimited increase to the debt ceiling.
Although the majority of Republicans voted to keep McCarthy in leadership.
Think long and hard before you plunge us into chaos, because that's where we're headed if we vacate the speakership.
It was the votes of Democrats uniting to remove McCarthy that made the difference.
We're not voting in any way that would help save Speaker McCarthy.
He is not trustworthy, and I think you can see that within his own caucus, but you can certainly see it the way he's treated us and the American people.
The historic upheaval in the U.S. House comes at a key moment. The short-term government funding deal did not include U.S. aid to Ukraine.
All the House leadership is supportive of continuing to help Ukraine, and the vast majority of House members on the Republican side are in support of continuing to help Ukraine. There's a small number of very vocal, a small minority of vocal members who are pushing back on that, but they don't represent their party, they don't represent their leadership.
U.S. lawmakers will hold elections next week for a new Speaker of the House, the person who is second in the presidential line of succession.
Well, as we have mentioned, the move to sack McCarthy from his Speaker's post was spearheaded by far-right Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida. For a more in-depth look at why and how this happened, let's go live to VOA congressional correspondent Catherine Gibson on Capitol Hill. Hello, Catherine.
Hello.
Yes, an excellent reporting there. But what is the significance of this kind of a period without a House Speaker?
Well, first of all, we only have 40 days left until government funding expires. Remember, the U.S. Congress passed a short-term spending bill last week that only gets us to November 17th. And every day that we're without a Speaker of the House here on Capitol Hill means that they can't move forward any legislation. They're not going to get a speaker until at least next Wednesday, when leadership elections are scheduled to be held. And that's the earliest time that they could get someone in. Right now, there are so many different candidates vying for that position, and there's no real path forward within the Republican caucus to get enough votes, a majority, to get that speaker elected. It looks like it might even take a little bit more time than that.
Now, some are wondering, what does this tell us about the Republican Party at the moment?
Well, the divides within the Republican Party right now are fascinating. As you saw in that story, it only took 8 Republicans working alongside all of the House Democrats to oust Speaker McCarthy. So when we're talking about the support for Speaker McCarthy, the majority of Republicans did vote to keep him in that position. It's really, really divided right now. And you have the conservative House Freedom Caucus. You have more moderate Republicans who are worried about the upcoming congressional elections next year. They want to run moderately so that they can maintain control of their districts. There are a lot of competing priorities here, Ukraine aid among them, that are going to be really vicious topics of debate in the coming week.
Now, Catherine, House Democrats actually helped to oust McCarthy. Some may wonder, how does this serve their interest in the House?
Well, you know, again, it shows how divided the U.S. House is right now. It shows that they needed that group of Democrats to be able to come along with the small group of Republicans. It shows that, you know, maybe they're moving forward towards a coalition, that really it's not viable anymore to have one party in the majority if that majority is so small. So it'll be really interesting to see if there's any room for Democrats to make deals in the coming week as the Republicans try to nominate a speaker.
Well, Catherine, we appreciate your insight. That's VOA congressional correspondent Catherine Gibson reporting live from Capitol Hill. U.S. President Joe Biden has spoken with Kenyan President William Ruto by telephone and thanked him for leading the United Nations mission to Haiti, according to a White House statement. Kenya's foreign minister says the force could be deployed in January. Some Haitians on Tuesday welcomed news that the United Nations Security Council has approved the deployment of an international armed force to Haiti, but others are indifferent. News of the UN vote, which authorized a one-year deployment of a Kenyan-led force to help quell gang violence, dominated conversations on radio and television while creating expectations among locals.
Yesterday, I followed the vote. I watched it on the internet. It is a very nice initiative that the United Nations prayed to come and help the Haitian people to get out of the situation that we are in. I'm certain that the Haitian people will cooperate with them.
I'm in the streets, I want to run. I'm at home, I'm afraid. I'm in the car, I want to fly. Because of the insecurity. I wish they come as soon as possible.
Well, Haiti's national police has launched several operations against gangs, but the department doesn't have enough resources or staff, with only some 10,000 active officers for a country of more than 11 million people. Well, for more perspective on the UN resolution authorizing a Kenyan-led multinational security support mission to Haiti, VOA's Paul Ndiho spoke with David Monda, a professor at the City University of New York's Gutman Community College.
And I'm very excited with the UN sending troops led by Kenya going to address continuing deterioration of security. However, I'm also very concerned because of the division within the Security Council. We know that Russia and China abstained. My second concern with the mission also is that the peacekeepers are from Kenya and they don't speak French. They don't know the local context or the local languages. And I think with a lot of the gangs and vigilantes, it's a mixed bag. The peacekeeping mission will really need a lot of the members of the region.
What's in it for Kenya? Why is Kenya at this particular moment very interested in peacekeeping missions in the Northern Hemisphere?
Kenya has really tried to expand its diplomatic footprint. And I think this peacekeeping mission is an excellent way for the Ruto administration to expand its diplomatic influence around the world, in this case in the Caribbean.
You have gang members tackling the police force, the army there. How is this going to work out? How is this going to play out for Kenyans and all the other people as part of the peacekeeping contingent?
I think this will be a very delicate diplomatic initiative that I think the Kenyan troops and the intervention force really need to work with the CARICOM members, the members of the Caribbean community that surround Haiti, to ensure that the country, this intervention in that country is not seen as another extension of American imperialism on that island.
On paper, it looks great. Kenya is sending troops to Haiti to bring about peace in Haiti. But what does this translate to when you talk to the average person anywhere downtown Nairobi?
Kenyans are very proud that their police have been recognized, that the funding has been provided by the United States to about $100 million. But let's also not forget, Paul, that the Kenyan police history of human rights abuses within Kenya has also not been, something that you can overlook, right? So the Kenya police has a history of corruption, has a history of rights abuses, and the concern is that then will you transfer those kind of police excesses, police abuses from a Kenyan context into a Haitian context.
Well, that was David Monda, a professor at the City University, New York, speaking to viewers Paul Ndion. Now, the number of incidents of violence in Haiti is staggering. Just this year, more than 2,400 people have been reported killed in Haiti from January through mid-August. More than 950 have been kidnapped and another 902 wounded. That's according to United Nations. For insight on what challenges the Kenya police contingent will be confronted with, I'm joined by Johanna LeBlanc, a former senior foreign policy advisor to 3 Haitian ambassadors to the United States. She's also a partner at Adomi Advisory. Welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
So in my calculations, there's about at least 320 people killed every month since January in Haiti. Just help us understand, what kind of gangs are Haitians dealing with right now?
Well, the situation is indeed dire in the Republic of Haiti. These gang members are provided with guns by the oligarchs, by some of the political elites. And these arms are, the illicit flow of weapons are coming from the United States of America, which has been very well documented and established by the Department of Defense. These gang members have even more sophisticated weapons than the Haitian National Police.
So when you say from the United, you're not talking about officially provided, but rather they kind of find their way from the U.S.
Not officially provided, but they are coming from the United States, in particular from South Florida. They're smuggled in cars and boxes, and you name it.
Now, what are some of the realities that the Kenya-led force will have to contend with once they land in Port-au-Prince or somewhere there?
Yeah, while again, I applaud President Ruto's effort to provide security assistance to the Republic of Haiti and to bring about some kind of stability and democratic order and norms, but it's going to be challenging, right? And you first and foremost, the language barrier. Haiti's official languages are French and Haitian Creole, whereas in East Africa and Kenya, it's Swahili, English, and numerous other languages. So that's going to be a challenge. But secondly, for this mission to be successful, President Ruto needs to surround himself with his own advisors beyond what is being provided to him by the State Department and by the Haitian government. Because if the United States government and the other allies of Haiti and the Haitian government do not go to the root cause of the issue, which is partly the illicit flow of weapons into the country, and also the oligarchs and the political elites who are funding these gangs and to destabilize the country, those individuals, we need to continue to impose sanctions on them and hit them where it hurts, in the pocket. We're not talking about restricting visas only, we're talking about seizing assets and exclude them from the ability to engage in the financial system here in America, and France, and Canada.
And so we're told that this mission should last at least a year. Knowing what you know about the gangs and the challenges that this force faces, what could be the likely scenario if things don't change, or if the rules of engagements are not very, as you put it, very clear, what can be the end game?
See, I have not seen the perimeters set forth by the Haitian government, which is rather problematic. So Prime Minister Ariel Henry needs to set forth the perimeters. What is it exactly Kenya is supposed to do to address the insecurity challenge in Haiti, right? Because absent of that, it's going to be incredibly challenging for Kenya to actually address the issue. And also, there's a conversation about whether or not Ariel Henry is even legitimate to even engage with foreign partners when it comes to this issue on the ground. And you have the Haitian American Elected Officials Network, which represents all the Haitian American elected officials here in America, sent a letter to President Biden asking to stop with the intervention. So there's some support by some, and there are groups like Haitian American Elected Officials Network and human rights groups who are against this because of past failed interventions by the U.S., by the UN, and so forth.
We can see quite an uphill task here for the Kenyan-led force. Thank you very much for your insights. Johanna LeBlanc is a former senior foreign policy advisor to 3 Haitian ambassadors to the United States, and she's also a partner at Adumi Advisory. What's still to come? An inside look at the festival that celebrated and promoted cultural diversity. Don't go away.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, we'll examine U.S. foreign policy towards Africa. Almost a year ago, the second U.S.-Africa summit took place in Washington, aimed at strengthening ties between the U.S. and the continent. Join me, Heidi Adams, and my guests as we explore what has been accomplished and how U.S. foreign policy should adjust to the changes on the continent. Join me, Heidi Adams, on the next Straight Talk Africa.
Having both male and female teachers in classrooms provides inclusive and safe environments for students. However, according to UNESCO, Sub-Saharan Africa continues to have the lowest percentage of female teachers. It's worse in conflict-affected areas where armed groups often terrorize female teachers as well as students. On this week's episode of Our Voices, we will look at challenges faced by female teachers. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
Well, in other news, the European Union and Ethiopia have reached a $650 million Euro development deal. The agreement is aimed at improving ties following the end of a devastating 2-year war in Ethiopia's Tigray region. South Sudan says it plans to investigate the death of Christopher Allen, a U.S. journalist that was killed in 2017 while covering the East African nation's bloody civil war. Allen, 26 and a dual U.S. citizen, British citizen, was shot in the head during a battle between the rebels and South Sudan's army in the southwestern town of Kagwa. And Nigerian authorities say police have detained Afrobeat star Naira Marley for questioning over last month's mysterious death of singer and rapper Mohbad. Police have revealed few details about the popular singer's death, but social media is being flooded with indignation over his passing. Now, the World Culture Festival has concluded here in Washington, D.C. after 3 days of festivities that celebrated and promoted cultural diversity and exchange. The event featured artists from around the world showcasing their culture through music, dance, and art. Here's viewers Jackson Funganyi.
Thousands of people representing various indigenous cultures descended on the National Mall for 3 days of captivating performances and speeches to celebrate and foster global peace and harmony. The festival is organized by the Art of Living Foundation, a volunteer-based organization with programs in over 180 countries. The founder, renowned spiritual leader Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, says that the festival provides a platform to celebrate global cultures.
Like sports, like Olympics, invites people from all over the world, like Economic Forum and the United Nations. All these are the platforms where the leaders come together and sportsmen come together. But there was no forum for culture. And so this has filled that gap, wherein this is a forum. Every 5 years, people are welcome to come and, be part of this. We're not just inviting one or two celebrities who would come and exhibit their, talent. Here we give a platform for the common masses.
This festival shows how we all can come together and unite in peace and harmony from the Capitol to the Washington Monument. What you see here is nothing but love.
Ban Ki-moon, the 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, underscored the importance of culture in promoting global peace and harmony.
One of the three primary responsibilities and target of the United Nations is to promote peace and harmony among people. This really helps to promoting peace and harmony among many different kinds of cultures and different people, ethnicities from all around the world.
With the U.S. Capitol providing a backdrop to the festival, various interfaith leaders delivered prayers for world peace and an end to all forms of discrimination.
We can all coexist with our differences. From all cultures, walks of life, and all mindsets, we can be together amidst the diversity and the difference. We can not just coexist, but we can celebrate each other's differences, and we can see the beauty in the differences.
The festival also featured performances from hip-hop legend Curtis Blow and Bob Marley's grandson Skip Marley, among others. Event organizers say that more than 450,000 people from 180 countries had reserved tickets to the festival.
Well, Jackson Vunganyo reporting from Washington. Now, the use of artificial intelligence is now a groundbreaking reality. It's empowering us to create personalized learning experiences, making education accessible. Technology reporter Paul Ndiho is here to tell us more. Paul.
Thank you, Vincent. This revolution further amplifies long learning machines, which emphasize continuous growth. Joining me to talk about the AI revolution is Kevin McCarthy, the founder and chair of historically black colleges and universities, Africa Homecoming, an organization that connects HBCUs in the U.S. with universities across Africa. Kevin, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much, Paul, and greetings to your audience out there. Yeah. Excited to be here.
Great. You've been one of the early adapters of AI. Can you tell us what can AI do to better our continent?
Well, AI is essentially machines learning to approximate human intelligence in some domains. From a continental standpoint, the emergence of large language models, which is essentially training computers and machines on data, has now gotten to the point where they've become very good, right? So you can see ChatGPT by OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude by Anthropic. These tools now represent an opportunity, especially when combined with digital twins. They present an opportunity to actually have a personal assistant in a specific domain, right? And that personal assistant can operate from the perspective of a 5-year-old, meet the 5-year-old where they are, from the perspective of a 10-year-old, meet a 10-year-old where they are, from the perspective of an expert or a master, right? So we, in this period, which as you mentioned, is truly revolutionary, it's like you have streams of knowledge which are coming forth from these models. Now what is needed is for people who are willing to drink and become whatever they want to be.
That's a great point. How can average people on the continent, average people like us, take advantage of these tools, the AI revolution? What can we do with those tools on our fingertips?
Oh, so many. All they need to access is, of course, data. right? And now you have data in many parts of Africa. You see people on Facebook and all that. Once you have that access, you have tapped into a pool of knowledge, stream of knowledge, right? And it can help you in anything that you want to do, whether you want to plan against your goals and determine, okay, I want to get to this point in 1 month. What are the top 80% of things that I need to focus on to get there?
Mm-hmm. So you've been working with a lot of universities here. How can universities back home tap into this revolution here?
I believe the main thing is training the large language models, right? Once a large language model is trained in a specific domain, it allows force multiplication. One person doesn't have to travel to many places to disseminate that knowledge. Now that trained model is accessible by everybody everywhere who has an internet connection. That is the power. So this issue of brain drain because the diaspora left, now a diaspora over here who has access to a lab and resources can train a model, and they multiplied millions of times available to the place where they came from. Revolutionary.
How about the issue of inclusivity? For example, people with accents, we speak with an accent. Can these AI models be trained to sort of like be us?
Yes, they can, right? But we need to be present in the spaces where these models are being trained. Training models can be expensive, right? The compute required to train models is pretty significant, right? Key thing is we need to be there. And the good thing is the diaspora is here. This is where that revolution is happening. So we need to find ourselves in places. You know, many companies have diversity and inclusion initiatives, but because they realize the need to have diverse voices, diverse characteristics, diverse knowledge, indigenous knowledge in that, right?
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but the key word there is we have to be present on the table.
Absolutely.
Kwabena, thanks very much. Kwabena Boateng is the founder and chair of HBCU Africa Homecoming. That's today's Tech Report. Back to you, Vincent.
Well, Paul, thank you very much. Be sure to join Paul Ndiho each Wednesday for his technology report on Africa 54. Well, and that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us in Washington, thanks for watching.